Scott Wolf, he's been covering USC for over 25 years, reporter for Inside USC Blog, and caught my attention with this story yesterday. And I had speculated this on the preseason. I had no information, no inside information, other than is Lincoln Riley putting out feelers to take a job in the NFL next season, maybe a package deal with Caleb Williams. And that's what Scott wrote yesterday. The word is Riley would be open to an NFL job if he could follow Caleb Williams and if the Bears had the number one pick in the draft. Let's bring in Scott now. Scott, how real is this?
Well, I think it's, coaches are notorious gossips, which is why I love coaches. So I've heard this from 3 different NFL coaches that they've heard he's putting out feelers to NFL teams that he's ready to jump if it's the right scenario, which means he wants to go somewhere with Caleb Williams, presumably the number one pick in the draft. So it would be the team that had the top pick or traded for the top pick. And that would be the ticket to the NFL. And if you listen to him talk the last couple months, he keeps saying, I only want to coach till I'm 50, which would be 10 years. So this would probably be a time to think about jumping to the NFL if he wants to do it.
Just a coincidence that this comes out after the bad loss to Notre Dame?
I actually heard it last week before the game, and I waited to kind of talk to a couple other people because I didn't want to just write it without kind of getting it from other sources. And I do sense, though, the loss kind of magnifies the situation a little bit, because I think he is getting a little frustrated right now because there is a lot of criticism in LA with the team, the way it looks, that for 2 years they've been talking about the horrible defense and his lack of a defensive coordinator, and all that stuff I think kind of wears on him, and he's looking at life without Caleb Williams. So I think it's something he's pondering.
Yeah, I think that Notre Dame loss kind of illuminated what people were afraid to say, and that is USC is not a great team, even very good, and maybe not even a good team. I think that Caleb has kind of covered up a lot of things here, and if you look around, the Pac-12 got some pretty good teams there, and is this a rebuild USC situation, do you think? Let's say Caleb leaves, when he leaves, and Lincoln Riley stays. Are they reloading or rebuilding?
Well, to me, the big question is, does Alex Grinch come back if Lincoln Riley stays? I think he needs a top-notch defensive coordinator, and he's resisted that his whole career. He's a Mike Leach disciple. These guys don't know any defensive coaches. They don't care about defense, it almost seems like. And like you said, Caleb Williams is an eraser. He erased all their problems. And I feel like a broken record talking about, the cornerbacks, the offensive line, the scheme on defense. So I don't know how much he can fix those things. We can call it a rebuild, but he's gone so aggressive in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more he can do in the transfer portal for next year.
What do you make of the story that's resurfaced that Caleb Williams his reps are telling teams or agents to tell teams that he wants a piece of the team if he goes there?
I think that's farcical, to be honest with you. I mean, a rookie coming in and saying he wants a piece of the team who hasn't even proven himself. I mean, is he going to show the game tape of the Notre Dame game when he makes this pitch to get a piece of the team? I mean, an NFL owner, I think, would just laugh at such a prospect. And, I don't know that he's actually said that. I saw the report that he did, and, he's welcome to ask for anything he wants, but we're talking about the NFL here. I mean, give me a break that a rookie is going to come in and get a piece of the team.
But what kind of advice is he getting? Because you can't do this. Legally, you can't get a piece of the team because then you could circumvent the salary cap. I could give Patrick Mahomes $1 million and a piece of the team. Therefore, I don't have to give him, $55 million. I can use that money elsewhere. So it is farcical that you would even ask that question because it's illegal. It's against the CBA. So that's why I don't know if he's being sabotaged here. It just feels like people might start to pile on Caleb Williams a little bit.
Well, anybody could say it because he's like a conglomerate at this point, even though he's in college with all his endorsement deals and his management. And,
Yeah.
his father obviously is a very big influence. And he's already talked publicly about, you know, we have to go to the worst team in the NFL if he's the number one pick, and that's not really ideal, blah, blah, blah. So I think all this stuff at the end of the day, he's going to go as the number one pick wherever he's picked. And that's the end of the story because I look at him and he looks a little jaded to me this year, and I think he's kind of frustrated. And just I want to add something to this, idea he would go with Riley. It At the Arizona State game, he was waving Riley off during the game when Riley was trying to signal him to change plays. So I'm not even sure that deep down he wants to play with Lincoln
Well,
Riley.
you know what, Scott? If I'm correct with this, that it felt like Lincoln Riley was pointing fingers at Caleb Williams missing wide open receivers when he threw those 3 interceptions against Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's something, we haven't seen in LA as from Lincoln Riley because they've been successful, but it looks like when they lose or struggle, he kind of points the fingers at the players. And it finally got around to Caleb Williams became the focal point of that
Yeah.
criticism after the game Saturday. And that's something you haven't seen out of him because he hasn't had to criticize him. But you're seeing, I think, a fraying around the edges of the program right now because they're dealing with adversity for the first time. And it's only been one loss. What happens when they play Oregon, Washington, UCLA? They got to play Utah this Saturday. So everybody's kind of holding their breath to see how the last 5 games are going to go.
Is Lincoln Riley the head coach at USC next year?
That's a hard question. I suspect he will be back just because I'm not sure an NFL team is going to want him. And what I've heard is if they did want him, they would order him to hire a defensive coordinator that they want and defensive coaches that they want. And I don't know if he's ready to give up that power. So I don't know if he's ready to make that big leap right now. But hey, if the Chicago Bears came, I'm sure he would try to go.
Scott, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Anytime, Dan.
Scott Wolf, reporter for Inside USC Blog. He's been covering USC for 25 years now.